same person you were talking to before who's next to you. Share with them a seed that you found outside, and if you didn't find one outside, then you can share with them a seed on your table you haven't talked about yet, and share with them how you think it travels and why. So turn to someone next to you and just quickly share a seed.
Tell me, seed farm is next to
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
Just a pod. Seeds, I think, are just like, I think it came from there. But it's too kind of furry.
So my class is in charge of we are using something.
All right. So thank you everyone so much. You've been a delightful group of second graders, and that concludes the demo lesson. So now I'm going to turn it over to Moses, who will facilitate our debrief. But maybe just in this quick transition, if you don't mind putting the pictures of the seeds back in the envelope, and then all of your actual seeds back in the silver trays, that way it's clean and easy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what's going to happen now is the reflection, and this is going to follow each one of the demonstrations that we have today. And again, this is the part where we want to lean on your expertise to enrich these and to contribute to the model that we're looking to develop. And so the first question on the reflection is, what from the demonstration did you most enjoy or connect with? Yeah, Amy.
I like that it started here, looking at things in the classroom, and then going outside to see it.
Yeah, so you like the way that the lesson progressed. Great.
And I think the start with now where everybody needs to think about how to travel, because that's something where everybody likes to travel and everybody thinks about how to travel.
Right,
And
so
that connection to get everybody engaged or excited about.
yeah, for eliciting prior knowledge. That's great. Yeah.
I like the collaboration when we were all looking at the seeds and having to categorize them because some people have a little more knowledge.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the collaborative nature. Great, thank you. John?
I like using my phone, things like that. And just take photos and then think about what can we do with all those photos.
Yeah, great. Uh-huh.
I'm actually having something in my hands, like
Yeah.
the real life thing.
Right, so more than just having photos or looking up something in a book, to have something tactile. Yes. Yeah.
I like the sentence frame because I think that makes it really easy for second graders or then your English language learners or variety of different students.
Great. Jesus?
I just like to mention the prep that the teacher has to do. Okay, bringing this amount of seeds, varieties that you would find in the park, whatever. But imagine, the more biodiversity is in your school garden, the easier for you to do this activity without any conflict with the parks. So having a good biodiverse garden within the premises of your classroom or the school, it will make this so much easier. And you know it's there all the time.
That's great. Thinking about the prep too, the school that we're going to visit tomorrow at Monzo, we have a whole collection of egg cartons, just stacked on top of each other, egg cartons with seeds that we just find. Every time we find interesting seeds, they go into the egg carton collection. And so we kind of are always building a collection that then we have on hand that we can bring in and do similar things. Julian?
Yeah, I always tell my students and our parents, when the students they have the opportunity to use their 5 senses, any activity make more sense and stay with you.
Yeah, great. The second question that we have is, how might you modify this activity to fit your particular audience? So maybe a grade level, your place, so where you're from, or potentially your research area. So how would you modify this? What would it look like if you were to take this back and work and do this in the community where you're from. Yeah.
I might ask the kids in my class to collect seeds that they have in their backyard front yard on their way to school so that they can be kind of observing and exploring their local space and place.
Yeah, that's so great. Crowdsource it. Get them out there exploring. That's great. Uh-huh.
I've had them build their own seed transportation, so one group would be assigned water and they had to make a seed floating water.
Yes. So that could be like an engineering extension.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So Moses, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do this one because it's your fault. Here is where an activity like this pushes the limits of culture. And as everybody went out the door, Moses and I just started talking at the door. And he said, have you heard of this seed that you can rub in the floor and burn somebody with it? I grew up with that, and then of course Julian says, oh, I did that too. Anyway, so she went out there, somewhere out there, there is that seed. I'm almost sure that's it. It's a bright red, beautiful coral color, but this is a seed where you would push the cultural limits of school rules and regulations and who knows what else. Where this seed is a very hard bean, actually it's even in some cases actually poisonous. But when you get it, if you don't know right away, you get it and you're gonna rub it really, really, really fast and touch the person, burn the person, literally burns. And so kids do that all the time. I grew up doing that. Most people grew up in this area where these plants grow. You do that. That's what you do. And yes, you can burn somebody with it. I mean, it will not, have very much. You will ever forget. No. You won't forget what it's called. You won't forget what it looks like. And you won't forget that game. That's a game. It's kind of like a nutty game. We're trying to discuss what can we call it? It's a nutty game to do that. But yet, you won't ever forget that plant, and you will remember the name, what it grows, what it looks like, and where does it grow? So anyways, isn't that funny? We just, as we were at the door, that was an example of a cultural appropriate kind of
culturally appropriate.
That
fits into the concept. Culturally inappropriate.
That says something about the culture of kids, because there's another Seeds collection that we did the same exact thing with, and all the kids did that. So that must be just something about
In one of the schools where I was doing counseling, the kids called them burn beans, but they were coral beans. And it's interesting that it's generational, it's cross-regional. It's local knowledge. Let's look at our next question. So let's think about science extensions. So science in particular. Are there any science extensions that you could see coming out of this lesson or activity? Yeah.
You could do something on buoyancy and connect it to like which seeds float, which seeds sink, and why.
Yeah, that's great.
Also biomimicry, how we can mimic nature with ideas that are based on.
Great biomimicry.
Structures of flowers, so there's a nice art piece outside that has flower structures from recycled materials, so an art integration that capitalizes on the science ideas of structure and function.
Wow, structure, function, and art integration. Great.
Lab identification, where it came from, GSDCs.
Great. Science identification. Rob?
So I did a similar, I just had a bunch of beans, so not necessarily just seeds, but I did this experiment with high school students and about how to design an experiment. So I had two cultures of these bean beetles, and one culture was all the individuals about twice as large as the other culture. And I asked them, how do we figure out if this is an environmental versus a genetic problem? And so they could do they grew them in little petri dishes, and they could do any way to set up this experiment that they wanted. But basically what they tried to do is the idea was you have big and small beans. So you grow the big ones on big and small beans, and then you grow the little ones on big and small beans, and then you see what they emerge as adults. And so that was just a way for them to start thinking about how to test an experiment thoroughly so that you know that you're getting a result that reflects nature and not just confirming your own bias.
Great.
Yes. Starting to collect seeds, talk with the kids, about the problem we have with Monsanto, that farmers can't collect their own seeds anymore, and we, see another way of
Right, so seed saving. Great. We're gonna, at the end of the conference, we have some little goodie bags, and you're gonna get some seeds that were collected from the network of gardens that we have, where the kids were doing science experiments where they were flagging plants that flowered early, and only collecting seeds from those plants that flowered early is a way that we try to breed plants that produce faster for our school gardens. Yes?
Also talking about adaptations, why does a particular plant develop that seed that travels that way? And looking at their habitat and the animals and just kind of the interaction of the entire
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, so expanded into the ecology of the place and talking about adaptations. Yeah, that's really wonderful. We skipped a little bit ahead with Jesus talking about the burn beans and the cultural relevance, but how might we amplify cultural relevance, traditional knowledge, or place-based teaching using this activity?
Well, I think they can go out with their Chromebooks and take pictures like we did if they don't have phones, and then they can develop podcasts or blogs and stuff like that to kind of give a different view of the information.
Wow, so yeah, multimedia, maybe some storytelling. Great. Yeah, Amy.
They could look at the way seeds travel in their region and compare that to other regions who might not have that many that travel by water.
Yeah, interesting. Great. Yeah, John.
I think this gives an opportunity to share about local plants that they might be familiar with, but then you can add some more facts or information about those particular plants.
Yeah.
They could go from there into all the, like the mesquite, we just had a presentation that I was doing from Arrange about the tree of life. Because the mesquite tree is just an amazing tree with all the different things that he provides. And then going into really the native stuff now, see why we are finding it.
The burn bean example makes me think of cultural uses of seeds that aren't food or aren't growing plants that I don't know what those are, but I would be interested to know if there are non-food uses of seeds that cultures use. And then lastly, so how might this demonstration connect with theory, existing literature, or lend itself to potential research questions?
I'm going to be reading a book that some of my students called The Seed is a Suitcase. Really, well, I'll be reading that to the younger kids.
Yeah.
But that's some literature that I've used and will use.
Great. Does anybody know the book A Seed is Sleepy?
I was just gonna say that, and the idea of dormancy, like understanding, and anthropomorphism, really kind of addressing literary uses of seed versus scientific.
What is a suitcase? And a seed is like, if anybody wants to see them, they're here. Again, I want to highlight that the pictures
There's
of
the
seeds.
chilicote, Jesus.
What's that?
The chilicote is the seed.
Chilicote?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then the pictures of seeds that you sorted came from this book, without permission.
Any other potential research connections or connections to theory?
Sorry, I don't know if what I'm going to say is correct. But when we cook and we do things at the garden, a lot of families feel so proud that what we are doing is represented. Like the knowledge, and they say, wow, the calabacitas con queso. I remember it started bringing connections, and then little by little they start showing up at the garden, sharing their experiences.
I think it's really powerful when families start to see themselves reflected in the schools and what's being taught. That's a really powerful.
And they start sharing more.
Yeah.
Little by little.
And then the effect that has on their kids to see parents connect to the places that they come to learn.
That's when then we go back to funds of knowledge, read more.
So funds of knowledge.
Community resources.
All right. Yes.
And it just made me think when you were starting talking about food, there's so many seeds that have a lot of great traditional uses. If you starting out about amaranth or chia or other seeds that were used as very nutritious and like mesquite pods, mesquite seeds. So we kind of take the seed connection and talk more about who those ones.
Excellent. Maybe one more?
As far as like a research question for students, like if we planted certain specific seeds, what kind of plant, or what kind of animals or birds would we be able to attract to our garden or campus based off of the specific seeds that we're planting?
Yeah, great.
I was thinking about taking seeds and looking at traits. So students have observed or they shared their knowledge that seeds have DNA, right? That seeds have ancestors. And so thinking about taking that and maybe playing around with planting like the beans that don't grow as fast and beans that do grow fast, like even of the same plant, and maybe doing some experimentation with that.
Wow.
From an educational researcher perspective, I'm interested in the organization of knowledge that kids bring their own language of how seeds travel. So like, are there only 5 categories or are there many categories, and how do those categories differ the way scientists, in an orderly fashion put them together?